Abanioma Nigerians, meaning good evening Nigerians. Now we're beginning tonight in Osun State, where Saturday's governorship election is beginning to look like something much bigger than context between Governor Ademola Adeleke and APC candidate Bola Oyebamiji. Now, Ndele Momodu has made an extraordinary claim. This election, he says, is not Adeleke versus the APC. It is Adeleke versus President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He even argues that the APC on its own cannot match Adeleke's politically in Osun State. We have a video backing that, and we'll play the video right now. Media, let's have it.
I have no question in my mind that the two mainstream contestants are the governor and the APC that seeks to unseat him. And that if we truly want to prepare for January, we should start the rehearsals now. We must put our differences aside and support the main person that I believe is in opposition to President Tinubu. The battle in Osun is not a contest between Adeleke and the APC. It is between Adeleke and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. APC is no match for Adeleke in Osun. Everybody agrees on that. They can make all the noise and all the hulabaloo, but I can tell you today that even the presidency knows, and I have a lot of friends in APC, they know they cannot match Ademola Adeleke. So why do we now want to dissipate our energy? When we came into ADC, the idea was for us to form a broad coalition of political parties, opposition parties. And that is what I am demonstrating. That's number one. Yeah. Number two is the fact that Ademola Adeleke and I are not just friends. We are a family. He is my twin brother. We were born 3 days apart.
Now, let's be clear here. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not on the ballot. But why is his name suddenly at the center of this election? Now, maybe the answer lies partly in the language we've already heard from inside the APC campaign. And meanwhile, months ago, APC campaign director general would say Wole Oke told supporters in SOK that whoever is not in Tinubu's camp should bear the consequences of his or her actions. Now, before adding, I am in Tinubu's camp, he did not specify what those consequences meant, but opposition figures immediately interpreted the remark as threatening. We have a video, let's have it. As Yoruba language, if you can hear Yoruba correctly, you will interpret what he's saying. But here's the uncomfortable question. If this is simply an election between Adeleke and Oyebamiji, why does President Tinubu keep appearing in the political language surrounding the contest? And more importantly, is Osun choosing its next governor on Saturday, or are we watching an early battle for political control ahead of 2027? Good evening once again, active citizens. You're welcome to Evening Parliament. My name is Ifoma Oji, your host for this evening, and joining me live in the studio, I have with me Mr. Chidi Lucky Kano, a political analyst. Good evening, sir. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me.
All right. You look good, by the way.
Thanks.
All right. Now, joining us also in the studio, we have Mr. Freeman Kelvin Obumneke, who is a political or public relations officer, Anambra Patriots. Good evening, sir. How are you doing this evening,
Beautiful.
Sir?
Thank God.
It's beautiful to have you.
It's my joy.
And of course, you look good too.
Thank you.
All right, joining us via Zoom is Mr. Samuel Orazulike, an active citizen. Good evening, sir. You're welcome to the conversation.
Good evening.
All right. Now let's go straight to the conversation. Now, Dele Momodu has come out to say that the election come Saturday, 2026, is between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Adeleke of Osun State, the incumbent in our Osun State. And is this what it is supposed to be?
Well, good question. But the thing is, because of the political rhetorics going on in Osun State of late, between APC and their court party, and even the ADC that joined, in that very conversation, I think is really frightening, so to speak, that the Osun governorship election is just having buzz everywhere. And coming from Dele Momodu, who obviously is citing Tinubu, there is no way in the Nigerian system of political analysis, looking at it from even newspaper headlines and all of that, you must see President Bola Tinubu's name mentioned at several places. As a matter of fact, you can't finish reading anything about Osun State without seeing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, and like we always say, Nigeria is a place where there is no smoke without fire. Definitely. There is a reason why his name is conspicuously in Osun State, even when his name is not on the ballot. It's as a result of what happened in Edo State, and also what we saw transpired in Ekiti State, and people are seeing it as maybe as a trademark that it might happen again in Osun State. But the real question is, they seem not to be focusing on the real issue on ground, which has to do with the electorate. How to empower the electorate to not just vote and walk away, but to vote and remain vigilant to protect their votes. I think that should be the primary concern. But everybody seems to be looking it towards Tinubu, that is going to be in Aso Rock on that very day, that may probably not take part even on in any of the polling units. So, where are you going to hold Tinubu responsible for that? I mean, we have over 15,000 policemen that have been mobilized in that very place. Whether they are going to prevent voters from going to their polling units, I doubt, because we know that these polling units are village-based, community-based, you understand? They're very close to people. People don't need to travel to do all of that. So I think the ultimate challenge is on the electorates, on the citizens of Osun State to just do their cast their votes and make sure they don't leave and go home. Let them cast their vote and stay there. Let's see how the Tinubu's name that keeps coming on the ballot, whether he will eventually appear suddenly from the sky.
All right. Thank you so much for that submission. Now, Mr. Samuel, over to you. There is a growing trend where we see somebody supporting, somebody in a different party supporting a different party. An example is in, what's it called, River State, where we know that, what's his name, the minister for I'm trying to get his name, Wike, the FCT minister, supports Bola Ahmed Tinubu even when he is in PDP, and he has come out consistently to say that he is endorsing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and that his party PDP cannot win the 2027 election. And then this is Dele Momodu now, who is currently in ADC, coming out to support Adeleke instead of supporting his fellow candidates in ADC. What do you deduce from that new trend?
The thing there is that, politicians always do things based on interest. They are not loyal to parties the way we think. Most people that are aligning themselves with APC and stuff like that is because they see an interest, they see something that is going to come out from that, them joining those parties. That is why you see me always, I would say, I want there should be a rule whereby you are in a particular party, you will not be able to live for up to 10 years. So, Dele Momodu supporting Adeleke, the truth is, sometimes you have to be very realistic. We all know that, the ADC candidates can't really win. It's not really the competition of this election is not really about him. It's about Adeleke and the APC candidates. So Daily Momodu knows that, oh, I have to throw my weight against anybody that's APC, and that's what everybody is, striving for. And coming to, Wike is, as I said, anybody you see that is supporting a particular party that is not, and is not there, it's not about interest. So their first goal is their own interest as human beings.
All right, thank you so much for that. Now over to you now, Mr. Freeman. I have like 2 questions for you.
Okay.
Now, if APC eventually loses in Osun State, do you think that should be interpreted as a rejection of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's second tenure? That is number 1, from obviously Southwest, which is more like his backyard. That's one. And then secondly, if Adeleke should win despite leaving the PDP for Accord Party, do you think that proves that his personal political structures are becoming stronger than political parties themselves?
Okay, thank you very much. There is something you must understand about politics, just like Samuel said. First of all, the voters, the electorate is the one that determines the election. However, if APC loses in Osun State, it's also a political indication, arithmetically, on the possibilities of 2027 general elections. That is one. The reason I say so is this: there have been some statements from other quarters that President Tinubu wants his nephew to be installed because he's the APC candidate, so as to make ways for him for 2027. Now, on the other side, if Adeleke wins the election, it means he has involved active citizens. He has understood the necessity to ensure that people who are going to vote, that they do not leave the polling units until the votes are counted. So these are the indicators you use in trying to ensure that these things work out very well. But on the other side, you must also understand the fact that APC as a political party wants to grab every state in Nigeria. Of course, we understand the language of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But I did not see Bola Ahmed's name in the ballot paper or as a candidate of APC in Osun State come 15th of August. So anybody pointing fingers at him might be doing a very serious mistake. It means the person has not done enough homework. The person has not prepared very well. If you have prepared very well, the electorate, the active citizens that must be mobilized, like we've always said it in this place, the active citizens must be mobilized to ensure that they are represented in every polling unit. If that is done, I can tell you, rigging will be very, very difficult in this Osun come 15th of August.
Thank you so much for that. Now, one question for you, Mr. Chidi. You've seen the DG of APC come out to say that if you don't vote or if you don't join APC camp, that whatever consequences come out of it, that the person should just bear whatever comes out of it. And a lot of people say is a threat. But this actually did not, it wasn't shown yesterday, it didn't surface yesterday, it surfaced earlier. But the reason why it came up again, it was because of what, a certain APC senator said, that should be last week or earlier this week, that they should kill Accord members. And that was why this video resurfaced. And the question I just want to ask now is, when an APC campaign DG says that people outside Tinubu's camp should bear the consequences if they don't vote, what exactly are those consequences? I know you are not possibly the person that said it, but I know that, a lot of people can create narrative out of what he said.
Well, I think part of the consequences they are talking about is the consequences of Chief Bola Tinubu being the president of Nigeria, depriving Osun State of their verified allocation, probably FAC allocations, or use other means of intimidation. But on the on the other hand, it's also a threat, not just to the incumbent governor, but directly to the Osun people. And you know, whenever anybody from the APC is talking, they are talking with authority. It looks like they are the the alphas in Osun State. So what I would just say is that whatever happens in Osun, whatever is happening right now, what is taking it so high up that is like vibrating across Nigeria is because in every conversation you will hear Chief Bola Tinubu's name being mentioned. And like Dr. Freeman mentioned, it's just mistake that, you know, some people are putting it. Mistake in the sense that Chief Bola Tinubu is not has not descended low as to the governorship. He has done that, and he won't even go back again. He is now the president, and he has the opportunity of doing it for the second time. But you know, all the other things is all about one, the Osun people, and then the Nigerian deciding whether Chief Bola Tinubu will continue. But ultimately, Saturday is the 15th of August, and we believe that the Osun people will decide who they actually want. If it is the APC person, let the result just reflect the will of the people.
Definitely.
If it is the Accord incumbent, let the will of the people reflect. Like he mentioned, 20 people in each polling unit. I also said last time when they said Davido was campaigning for his brother using his influence, I said that is a good thing. But he needs to mobilize more people to protect the votes of Osun people. That is the most important aspect, because Chief Bola Tinubu is not going to be in these polling units. Neither is Adeleke going to stand in those polling units.
Definitely.
But those active voters will be there. It is up to them to protect.
All right, thank you so much. Over to you, Mr. Samuel. I need you to work in this my dream, right, with me right now. You're living in a democratic nation, yeah? And somebody says that if you don't join a particular political party, that like you are a citizen, an indigenous of Osun, and somebody says this to you, what would be your reaction? Do you see yourself going to vote for the election in 48 hours?
There are so many factors that I will consider if I'm actually, you know, being Osun. The truth is that I will first consider if I've seen or I've heard of any violence happening in my area of where I'm supposed to vote in my community. Because the truth is that if violence, I've heard that, oh, there's violence, or they kill this person, or as we have seen so many, we have been hearing that people have been dying, or they've killed this person, they've killed this person. If I've seen something like that happen in my community, of course I won't go out to vote, because as I said in the morning show, that, you know, someone's life is that person's priority first before any other thing. Yes, the election matters, but if someone's life, the person has to safeguard his life. And I've said this multiple times that we have, you know, illiteracy in the political system. Yes, sometimes when you listen to these people talk, you ask yourself, how did they even get here to begin with? And this comes down to even their principal doesn't have, you know, the certificate. So I don't really blame them when they make certain, you know, should I call certain saying in the public without knowing fully well that there will be no consequences with the whole thing. So the truth, to answer your question again, I won't go out if I've heard any violence, you know, in my community.
Thank you so much. And that has already created fear in your mind, and I believe is the same thing that is going on in Osun State. But Mr. Freeman,
what I wanted to add, seriously, maybe it's the same thing that you had in your mind. Because if everybody start being afraid of going out there just because somebody made maybe the intention of the person is to scare people from going out to the polling units. Over to you.
Partly what I want to say, you see, the mouth has a way of determining actions. And if you are not courageous enough, you might think that what was said is what is going to happen. Having said that, if our institutions, especially the security architecture of the state or the nation, was functioning effectively, by now that man ought to have been arrested. that statement is a threat, sincerely speaking. Just like one Islamic cleric in the north, a few days ago was making a statement. You needed to hear the kind of things this man said. So the police or the DSS ought to have arrested this man, and there ought to have been a public statement from the state security, from the Department of Security Services, or from the police or other relevant agencies, assuring voters that day that this statement has no water to hold so far as Osun State election is concerned. And that is going to build the confidence of the electorate. But keeping quiet over such a statement begins to put a question mark on the integrity of our security system too.
All right, thank you so much for that. But do you know that this Osun election has gotten, far more darker? But if you don't know, the next story will tell you. Because in Osun, it has moved beyond controversial words. Gunmen reportedly opened fire on APC candidate Bola Oyebamiji's convoy. We'll take a look at the video and we'll return to the studio for more conversations.
When they took us left side, they should stop harassing people. They should stop. I should stop it. Don't trigger him. Don't try him. Don't try him.
Play that video. I think this is the wrong video, but just stay with us because that video is coming immediately after this. APC announced that Dele Ayebo, a nephew of Wole Oke, had been shot dead near his home in Esoke. APC has accused political opponents, but responsibility has not been independently established. So what started as a battle for votes is now being overshadowed by something much more dangerous, which is fear. And if people become afraid to campaign, display their political affiliation, or even turn up at polling units, then violence doesn't necessarily have to change ballot papers to influence an election. It only has to change the turnout. We have the video, but we'll take a look at it and then we'll have more conversation.
They are when they took us left side, they should stop harassing people. They should stop.
You know, we're talking about the violence in Osun State, and then the fear, because I had to paint a picture, for Mr. Samuel. And at the end of the day, he said he's not going to go out to vote. And I know, Mr. Kanu, you say something. If people don't go out to vote, how do you now defend your vote, or how do you now, cast your vote and elect who you want as, the governor? And I believe you said something again concerning that same fear. Now, it doubled down. It became more darker in Osun State because people have been confirmed dead. An APC brother, right, the DG's brother, he turned out dead. And when you say, if you create fear in people, how would they go out to go and vote? But when they see that people are dying, we took stories where at least 2 people and a lot of people have reportedly been killed. Do you still think that is them people trying to use words of the mouth to influence people, intimidate people not to come out to vote?
Okay, thank you very much. Deaths have been reported, that is true. But we haven't gotten to the day of election.
Yeah.
And that does not mean that people should be scared away from going to their polling units. Let me sound very factual. People, it's a sorry incident anyway.
Yeah.
I sympathize with the families of the deceased, but we are talking about the future of a state.
Definitely.
We are talking about the future of Osun people. At this point in time, this is when serious statements has to be made by our security architecture, by the security system.
Yeah.
It wouldn't stop people from going to vote. That's the point I want to make. If it gets darker, that is when the people must come out better. The darker it gets, the better they should come out
So
to
more
determine their
bloodshed.
future. No, we are not saying more. That was why I said that our security system must be strengthened at this point in time. The people who are dead are already dead. So that wouldn't stop the electorate from going to the polling unit. So what is necessary now is that the security system should be strengthened in order to avoid more deaths and to give the electorate the confidence to come out on that day to cast their votes. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Thank you so much for
So
that.
sorry.
Now, I just want you to tie it
something.
with this next story that I want to ask. Just tie what you want to say now, please, with the next story. Now, the violence that have been created in Osun, who do you think at this point is benefiting? Just tie it with what you want to say.
Okay, let me start by saying the fear is not only confined to politics alone.
Okay.
Fear is one of the elements of life itself. I will give you a very practical example. If you've heard of or you have used the onubu soup, you will know that there is so many ingredients that make up the onubu soup. I mean the bitter leaf soup.
Yeah.
Now the bitter leaf soup, you know, it has so many bones. If you have to deal with this everything,
Morocco
yes,
and
there's so many bones in there. And then imagine how you sort them when you go in and you pick it up and you have to swallow it and you have to remove the bone from this side on this side. So what am I saying is that fear is always there. If the fear for the bone will make you not to eat an oha soup or a bitter leaf soup, then you can imagine that same fear now coming out for you not coming out to come and vote. And that's why I'm just trying to make that kind of comparison. Why I'm making the comparison is that fear is a daily occurrence. It's something that we live with. And because of fear, you cannot say you won't leave your house and go out. And again, if we compare it to coming out to vote for an election that you are to to select somebody to represent millions of people in the states, it means it is worth the while. Because we are talking about democracy here. We are talking about something that will influence your school fees, something that will influence your transportation in your state, something that is going to influence everything that deals with you, even the clothes you wear. You understand me? It's all about governance. So no matter how the threats are, the encouragement I want to give Osun citizens is that they must come out and vote. And if they did not come out and vote, regardless of these consequences that have been said, they might end up being pushed to where the person that they are not selecting happens to be in the state, and the consequences they are talking about will multiply or quadruply, or however they position it.
Thank you so much for that. Now, still talking about fear, let's move from Osun State to Anambra State, which one of the state's prominent businessman, Jesco Group Chairman Chief Joseph Eze Okafor, remains in captivity. His abductors reportedly demanded 700 million naira, then increased that figure to an astonishing 1.5 billion naira. And suddenly the question becomes bigger than one wealthy family. If criminals can allegedly place a billion naira price on a Nigerian citizen's freedom, what does that tell us about the confidence of kidnapping networks and the ability of the state to protect even people with enormous resources? And yet, amid all the fear, another image is emerging from Benin City. Peter Obi arrived for the funeral rite of the late Archbishop Augustine Akubueze and was surrounded by a large enthusiastic crowd. Politically, those pictures will get attention, especially with 2027 approaching. Let's take a look. mammoth, crowd. But let's start off with the first story, which is about the businessman who was kidnapped in Anambra State. It was said that he left his house without security men, and the abductors asked for 700 million naira, and obviously the family agreed to pay the 700 million naira. But we're hearing now that because of the fact maybe that they were able to afford 700 million naira, they increased the price to 1.5 million. Let me get your reaction.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to sympathize with the family of Chief Ezokafo, for on that incident. I also want to sympathize with the entire people of Ekulobia, Anambra State, and Nigeria, at large. That begins to, put a very serious question on security of lives and property, not only in Anambra State, but in the entire country. I felt so bad when I heard about that, incident. However, it's my understanding that the governor of Anambra State had mobilized very serious and intelligent security detachments, to be deployed in order to smoke out these elements and for punitive measures to be put in place. Having said that, I also want to say that at this point in time in our democracy, especially with regards to the security situation in Anambra State, I want to suggest that CCTV should be put in every corner, street and road.
So are you saying the governor of Anambra State is not really doing his due diligence?
No, I said, didn't you hear what I said?
Okay.
I said that already his government had already mobilized a detachment of security, personnel.
So he should do more
to move into action to ensure that the elements who committed this act are fished out. That's a very good action taken.
Okay.
I'm also now making some submissions or admissions on what can be done, because this thing happened in the state capital.
Okay.
It was said to have happened at somewhere at Ifite, which is the heart of the state capital. And so that puts the state government, it should put the state government on seat to ensure that we have a very strong security system, at least with deployment of things like CCTV, then the government will have a central place where the entire city can be monitored. And then this the telecommunication system and other communication agencies should also try to beef up their system, so that, because it took communication to get to the family of Chief Ezokafo. It took communication for them to ask for 700 million. It also took communication to increase it from 700 million to 1.5 billion.
Quite apt.
So while all these things were happening, why were they not tracked? So if we had a very strong, and if we are going to deploy a very strong security system in the state, and little by little begin to move it to every community in the state, I think the issue of kidnapping can come to an end. All
right, thank you so much for that. Over now to you, Mr. Chidi. This is quite an unfortunate, incident, and I would love to get your reaction on that. Now, would you say that Nigerian families are effectively paying the security bill that government has refused to pay?
Well, if you say security bills, will you be calling kidnapping ransom to be a security bill?
No, that's not what I meant. Like putting security apparatus in place so that kidnapping can be reduced in Anambra State. Let me start.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think in that context, the government is doing their own part reasonably. But it seems that their best is not good enough. That's what I can say in this regard. Why I say it's not good enough, because it keeps repeating. That very trend of kidnapping had, sometimes I think that it has, it has been reduced. But I see that after some time, such issues come up again. I'm not saying it should be eradicated, but I'm saying that at least we should not be having this kind of it. And when we talk about security, Jesco is a very prominent man in Anambra State, and I believe he goes around with his convoy. He does not go alone. He understands these states probably more than you and I, because somebody who owns filling stations everywhere means that he knows where is volatile, he knows where is risky, and the rest of it. But let me even speak to the heart of this thing based on the Ifite. You mentioned that this thing happened. Ifite is in the heart of Oka.
Yeah.
And if you have kidnappers grab somebody in Ifite and then disappear into thin air, are they disappearing? Are they magicians to disappear? But because in that very environment of Ifite, you have the axis that takes you to Amansi, and you have the one that takes you back to town. And then probably there is the big bush on the other side. Now, where would these people have disappeared into a thin air in the middle of the city? Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
And if you get to Ifite that we're talking about, before Amansi, there are several police checking points. When you want to come out again, there are several police checking points. So, why is the police people on this road, are they deployed there just to collect 200 naira from KK people? Or they at least they are to look inside the vehicle and know if somebody wants to scream?
So are you saying they are complicit?
I wouldn't say they are complicit. I'm only saying that they are not doing exactly what they are positioned on the road to do.
Okay.
Because what I notice most often is they are busy collecting 200 naira from the KK people and not paying attention to what is happening inside the vehicles that probably will be carrying somebody who is kidnapped. That's just what I'm saying.
Thank you so much for that. Over now to you, Mr. Samuel, if you're still there. Now let's talk about Mr. P2B and what happened in Edo State when he went to, visit, right? It was a funeral visitation. Now you saw the mammoth crowd over there. Do you think that the election 2027, the crowd you're having there is going to translate into votes?
The thing there is that it's with the people. The fact that my prayer is, this should not just be like an internet sensation, or should I say an internet trend, where when everyone wants to like take a picture or hail him or something. I understand the true feelings of people. People are suffering, so they're looking towards hope, and he represents hope. So I think this brings me, saying that Nigerians to actually come out to vote, and it should not be, oh, we are praising him online. When you reach that time to vote, you don't come out to vote. What does P2B represent to people out there? It represents that hope, even that blink of hope to people that things can, actually get better with him. So I understand, the so much crowd that goes around it whenever, he comes to a particular place. It's a true happiness to see things like that. Also saying again, people should actually come out and vote.
All right, thank you so much. Over now to you, Mr. Kelvin.
Okay.
Do you have your PVC?
Sure, I do.
All right. Do you think that the people around that Edo have their PVC and that this can translate into votes?
It's not possible. It's not possible that this crowd can translate into votes. I know this because I've been part of those who have been sensitizing people in my community to go and get their a voter's card. And you find that some people will just get there after 2 hours or 1 hour and they are not attended to, they leave. You understand?
Yeah.
If you can understand what I'm saying. If you had the data for Anambra, elections, you look at the number of registered voters, then you look at number of votes cast, you discover that the number of votes cast is far less than number of registered voters. You understand?
Yeah.
And even those of them who have voters card don't even go to vote. I've heard people say, what concerns me? What am I going there to do? In fact, I've heard somebody say, since I was born, I have never voted and I'm not going to vote. But people sometimes would want to identify with a particular person, in a certain place, as the case may be. And so not everybody who I saw or we are looking at now in this video has voters card, and not all of them might vote.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mr. Chidi, I'm sorry, let me play little devil's advocate. Yeah? Do you have any reservations with Mr. P2B?
I don't have reservations, and being the chairman of the Artisan Foundation, we are not partisan. So I try as much as I can to stay off party candidates. I just speak to Nigerians because basically it's Nigerians that decides whoever they need. So if P2B is saying something, I look at what he has said and present it just like every other person.
But will you vote for him?
I wouldn't at this point disclose who I'm going to vote for because it is my personal opinion or my personal intentions come the election day. if God keeping us all alive, I go out there, go to my polling unit, and I'll cast my vote to somebody who had inspired my my conscience, or who has sold his credentials properly to me. So it is a personal decision. It's not something that I must go out and broadcast that. And also, being somebody who obviously represents a lot of public opinion, I mean, people in our foundation, I obviously won't come out on the national TV to tell people that I'm going to. It means that we already concluded on who we are supporting. So currently, the Artisan Foundation is not supporting any candidate, but supporting Nigerian people to come out and do the right thing.
All right, well said. Now, this final question is to our viewers who are watching currently. Now, we know that few months ago, the governor of Edo State came out to threaten Peter Obi, saying that if he comes to Edo State and he doesn't seek security clearance from him, that he cannot guarantee his safety. Do you still think that Mr. Peter Obi is safe, you know, right there in Edo State? That is for you, our viewers. Now, let me come straight to you, Mr. Kanu. I believe you have, we have been taking on the active citizens heroes, like, consistently. And I believe you have, like, final words for Nigerians before we cut the show a wrap.
Yes, it's always a series. I'm always using that opportunity of closing to, you know, to call on Nigerians to do the right thing. But let me start with what is happening in Osun State.
Yeah.
Something bigger than a governorship election is unfolding in Osun on Saturday. And Osun going to the poll is one of the things that will be the climax of the year before we have the general elections.
Yeah.
But let me get you to the where we started, which is Dele Momodu. I mean, he made an interesting argument, though, from what we have seen. But what he has said is no longer simply about Adeleke versus the APC candidate. I mean, he's mentioning that President Bola Tinubu is like the man on the ballot, you know, in the other way. So, but let me put it that Tinubu, first of all, is not on the ballot. And then there's so much political rhetoric that is surrounding that Osun election. Like the APC campaign director, General Dewoloke, which previously warned, like you mentioned, that those outside Tinubu's camp should bear the consequences. And whatever politician made by such statements, honestly, elections should never leave citizens afraid of supporting the candidates of their own choice. And that brings us to the bigger question. Who really owns these polling units? Because I keep mentioning about this. Is it INEC? Is it the police? Is it this very ruling party, APC, or even a court party, or even the opposition that you call the P2B, ADC, Atiku, and the rest of them? No, the polling unit belongs to the people. It is the people that own the polling units. And that's why the Active Citizen Polling Unit Heroes program matters a lot, not just for the Osun election, but for every Nigerian moving towards the 2027 general election. Now, for years, we have told Nigerians, go out, vote, go home. I mean, that is like what happens everywhere whenever we have an election time. But this time around, we are proposing something different. Vote, but stay engaged at your polling unit. So, but let us look at that very 20 polling units I keep talking, polling unit heroes I keep talking about. Imagine 20 trained active citizens at every polling unit. I'm talking about active voters, not party agents, so not political talks, not anybody who is there to fight. These are ordinary citizens trained peacefully to observe, document, and understand what is happening around their polling unit environment. When voting finishes, you will notice that the votes will be counted, the crowd gradually, they will disappear for those people who just come there to vote and go away. But the active citizens that we call active voters, they will remain. They will have to keep watch over to protect the integrity of the process. They will document and they will follow the process, I mean, like peacefully till the end. Because, Ifeoma, democracy doesn't end when your ballot enters the box. It ends when the choice made by the people is faithfully reflected in the result. And that is the lesson Osun should teach us ahead of the 2027 general election. Whether APC wins or whether Accord wins, and whether other candidates, every other person that is there, if magic happens in that place and anybody comes out, even the low party that nobody is talking about, that don't, I mean, it doesn't make a politician to fight the other politicians all over again. You understand? Because when that ends, it ends there. Nobody will have to be intimidated again because it has come to an end. So anybody will be able to win. Now, again, for those people who are going out there to do markets, my resolve to you is, please don't sell your votes and don't abandon the process after you would have voted. Become an active voter, which we call the active citizen. And our vision for these active citizens across Nigeria is one, to have 20 people per polling unit around every polling unit across Nigeria come 2027 general election, to have a peaceful, non-partisan and everything intact for Nigerians. That is what we want to happen, so that at the end of the day come Saturday. And I will also say that on Saturday's election, there is a reasonable probability that the NG polls that I keep talking about will come live. We're expecting the NG polls to be officially open by tomorrow, being Friday. And then on Saturday, we're expecting that we can use the NG polls to analyze the results coming out from the INEC IREV portal as it goes in there. By that analysis, we'll be able to, quantify what we can do in 2027. So I'm encouraging Nigerians to watch out for the NG election polls, NG election polls. .org. Of course, you can check that from tomorrow. It will come out, and by Saturday we should be able to give Nigerians the benefit of that on what will come out there.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Chidi Lucky Kanu. And thank you so much, Mr. Freeman, for your 2 cents on the stories. And then Mr. Samuel over there, thank you so much for contributing to the stories. But here is, the complete connection for all the stories that we've, discussed today. Oshun is showing us what happens when politicians or politics becomes associated with fear. Benin is showing us the continuing power of voluntary political enthusiasm. And Anambra is showing us what happens when ordinary security itself begins to fail. So perhaps the biggest conversation this evening isn't APC versus Accord Party. It is not Tinubu versus Adeleke or even Peter Obi versus anybody. It is this simple thing. What kind of Nigeria are we Nigerians building towards 2027? Is it one where citizens make choices because they believe in the leaders or the candidates, or the one where fear, violence, and even insecurity increasingly determine how Nigerians live, vote, and even participate? That is the conversation that should be dominating social media. You can join the conversation by dropping your comments under the comment section, because yes, we might call the show a wrap, but the conversation continues because it is about Nigeria, and every Nigerian needs to become an active citizen. My name is Ifoma Oje, and you just watched the evening parliament right here on Active Citizen. Till we see you tomorrow for more updates, please stay active.
To sign up as an eyewitness reporter or a volunteer? Here's the difference. An eyewitness reporter is someone with a valid permanent voter's card, PVC, who is registered to vote. On election day, you'll be at your polling unit to document what happens, report incidents, and upload the official election results. Your reports help promote transparency and election accountability. Eyewitnesses may be compensated for their monitoring work. However, the platform does not promise fixed payments. Any financial reward depends on the commercial value generated from the data you submit. A volunteer, on the other hand, doesn't need to have a PVC. Volunteers play a vital role before, during, and after the election by helping with community mobilization, voter sensitization, awareness campaigns, and training activities. On election day, they also support the smooth coordination of election monitoring efforts on the ground. So, which role is right for you? If you're a registered voter who who can report directly from your polling unit. Choose Eyewitness Reporter if you want to support the mission through mobilization, training, sensitization, and on-the-ground assistance. Choose Volunteer. Whichever role you choose, you're helping build a more transparent, accountable, and credible electoral process. Join the movement and play your part in strengthening Nigeria's democracy.